you will remember that we were looking at this page called World View in Wikipedia and using it as a starting point for doing our own research. And I'd just like to show you uh, where where I would go from here. So I'd go to external links, which takes me down the page, and you'll remember that I identified this site as one of great interest, and I'm going to go there now and have a look at that. And here it is, and I'd like you just to avoid the reaction, my own reaction, which is, oh wow, what a horrible looking website, because in fact I think whilst the graphic quality of this is uh, contrary to my own way of presenting things, it is nonetheless a very helpful site. Okay, so I'm going to leave you to explore it mostly yourselves, but there are some things I would like to point out about it. Here, each of these are links which take you to places of interest to have a look, and it's worth going and having a look at the home, partly because here we've got a neutrality pledge in which the author of this site is seeking to remind us that we need to be self-critical when we're and critical of the site as we're looking at it, and promises themselves, this is Stephen, is promising himself to weed out as much bias as he can himself. Here he shows a critique of the project, so that takes us to this page, and we can go up here to this link and go in here, and you've got a whole bunch of relatively positive analysis of the site on this side and relatively negative analyses of the site on this side. So you've got a very comprehensive review of the site actually contained in the site itself, which is remarkably unusual and also very helpful. Okay, so I'm going to go back in my browser window to a couple of steps, and here I found this very useful, this little bit about an introduction to worldviews. This is that page that we've been to see before, and it's all based on a grid which enables us to have a look at our own worldviews. Here's another little place that I went to just recently, Worldview Watch, commentary and analysis of current issues, and this one's interesting because it lets me know that there's recent activity on the site. So the 25th of June 2011 saw this posting, healthcare, religion, beliefs, attitudes between the US versus the UK. I'd probably like to go and have a look at that because that's going to be very interesting from my point of view as a person from the UK who spends a fair amount of time in the US and does indeed notice that there's a significant difference between the way health services, significant differences in the way that the world view of people in the UK relates to the way that health services were provided. Actually, we would probably need to say the world view in the 1940s and 1950s, when there was a very hopeful and progressive energy in the politics of the UK. At the moment, of course, the UK government's doing its best to dismantle the National Health Service and make it much more like the United States, which is a disturbing dynamic for those of us who were brought up in the UK with a health service as it is. So here's a little about us. piece that we can go and have a look at. And I found something in here that gave me a strong sense that this is a website that I could trust quite a lot. And that was the reference here to Donella Meadows. Donella Meadows is a long-term ally of permaculture, and indeed we sometimes describe her as having been the grandmother of permaculture, because she developed and articulated very well a whole piece about systems thinking and systems theory, which we use extensively in permaculture to provide us with an idea of how to proceed when we're looking at complex systems, which of course ecological systems are complex systems and social systems are really complex systems, and Donella Meadows did a great deal to help frame the way we might look at those things. You might like to look her up and also look at her book offerings on Amazon, and there's a great introduction to systems thinking there, which would be very helpful. If you haven't read that you might do. Okay, so let's just go back to the Project Worldview page and go home and have a look to see whether there's anything else that we might like to look at on there. Here's another place to go and have a look at. This little line here that says a free inquiry path to worldview contains some useful information. We'll just go there and have a look. And if, like me, when you're faced with a very wide piece of reading like this to do on the screen, you might like to shrink the width of the page to something more readable. I find that much more acceptable than full width. So now I can read down the page like this and get a picture of what's going on. And in fact, there's a crucial piece of information right here. I'm just going to release the bullseye there so I can show you that I can select this bit here, these 4 sections. This website encourages individuals to systematically explore and consider questions in 4 areas: their relationship with 1, knowledge; 2, with other individuals, including introspection, which means thinking about myself; and 3, groups of individuals, including society in general; and 4, nature. So that's a very helpful description of the way that this website is structured. Anyway, there's more to read there, but I'll leave you to pay attention to that. And now I'm going to take my cursor up to the top of the page, and here I am. I can expand the page back to its full size, even though I'm not going to spend much time looking at it like that. Okay, I think that's enough actually. I'd be happy to leave that to you to pay some attention to. Just one more thing that I'd like to address in this little video, and this is to show you this WkSpks page. Okay, so you can see my URL up here, I hope, WkSpks.com. This is a very thoughtful site which is seeking to pay attention to the inevitable biases which turn up in Wikipedia itself, and yet it's not anti-Wikipedia. In fact, you'll see down here it says that Wikipedia is always worth consulting on almost any subject where introductory knowledge is being sought. However, when it comes to deep political issues, whilst Wikipedia provides a really good place to start from, there are some problems, which is that Wikipedia contains a widespread acceptance of the official narrative of events rather than a narrative which may have been developed by people with less interest in maintaining the status quo. Anyway, so the WkSpooks site is a useful place to know about, and you can put search terms in just as you can in Wikipedia. So you could look at world view, which is what we're currently focusing on, and do a search on that and see what it turns up. And here we go. There's a range of papers and entries, some of which look very interesting. Here's one that I would probably go and visit, Documents, Secrets and Lies. And in historical terms, British Guiana in 1953, where there was a revolution underway and there was a British intervention in there, and so on and so forth. All sorts of interesting resources turned up, and these, we know, are resources which do not necessarily conform to the official view of history. So you might like to spend some time in WkSpooks. Oh, by the way, I know the people who have created this site, they're part of a complementary currency continuous chat that's been taking place over the last 4 or 5 years. So again, I have a personal reference into the people who started this site, so that gives me a sense that I could trust it quite well. Okay, so thank you very much for paying attention.